Welcome to Career Secrets channel. We dive deep into the world of high-paying careers, uncovering the secrets that can propel your career to new heights. Join us as we explore the strategies, insights, and success stories of career experts who have mastered the art of career advancement. In today's episode, we're thrilled to sit down with Hugo Reinoso, a seasoned software service veteran who has successfully navigated the dynamic landscape of high-tech sales. Get ready to gain valuable knowledge and actionable tips that can supercharge your career trajectory. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell to stay updated with the latest episodes, where we review the secrets to landing high-paying jobs and thriving in the competitive job market. Welcome, Hugo.
Hi, Edmund. It's a pleasure to connect with you once again.
Thank you again. Let's dive into it. Can you tell us about your background and what drew you to a career in sales within the high-tech industry?
Absolutely. My career started at I having my own computer store. So throughout my education, either in grade school, high school, and university, computers were a key interest. Though I studied engineering, I was always drawn to computers. So when I finished university, I went to work in engineering, but then I fell in love with the technology side rather than the building side. So along the way, I purchased the store and started selling technology to clients. And one of my first truly entrance into the sales side was when I got married and decided to have a steady job, which meant that I had to move away from retail stores in order to join a very innovative, progressive, transformational company such as IBM. So having that skill sets that I gained from university, the fact that I had a technology store enabled me to join a progressive company like IBM. So, and why did I go into sales? Truly because all the salespeople that I've met were very successful, had a lot of fun in regards to their jobs, were always attending events, working with the latest technology, helping clients resolve problems, and overall enjoying their careers. So when I joined IBM, though I was in support initially, I decided to go into sales because I envied the sales reps for their success, their knowledge, their experience, and the relationships that they were building.
Great story. Great story. So your first job in high tech, sorry, after the store was IBM. How did you get into IBM, and were there any specific steps or strategy that you used?
Getting into IBM, as you can see from my gray hairs, was a long time ago at a stage where IBM was very, very aggressive in regards to their hiring practices, right? You had to fit a certain model, you had to have certain attainments and so forth, right? So going into the sales side, there was a structure that you had to meet. So my approach was to get in through there through the partner network. So initially work with a partner of IBM. So when I started, because of my connection of my store, I knew about partners who were delivering technology that came from IBM, and I joined them in order to get to learn about IBM and what the benefits were, the business practices, and so forth. So when I joined this partner, I met a lot of IBM personnel. Networking is critical. And when I built a relationship with them, they always said, Hugo, why don't you join IBM? You have the skill sets, you have the knowledge, you have the experience that you built, join us, right? So my approach was to leverage what I've known in the past, the networks I built, and then use it to get into a high-tech company such as IBM.
Excellent. You say you're an engineer by profession. So which stream? The civil,
Mechanical.
mechanical.
Yeah.
Did that help?
Absolutely, because what happens is anytime you go into an organization, when they ask you questions, what's your experience, what's your knowledge? And in the technology industry, we are providing solutions that are specific to an industry. And manufacturing is a key industry that IBM and many organizations work with. Having that knowledge of engineering, having that knowledge of what the manufacturing process are important. So it adds on to your portfolio of knowledge that you have. So it's important.
Excellent. I think that adds credibility to all the things that you deal with, and especially when you're selling.
Absolutely.
So I may be repeating myself, but what kind of experience or skills from your previous roles have been most beneficial in your current position?
So from the educational background, anything that you learn is very, very, like you've mentioned. The fact that I was studying mechanical engineering is critical because it aligns me to a certain industry where I have more knowledge than many other competitors that may be vying for the same job. The fact that I have maybe a computer background because of my knowledge in working with computers enables me to quickly ramp up within a role. So the onboarding process is easier. But like I always tell my kids, the greatest asset that you will have is communication. The fact that you could communicate effectively and enable the person that you're speaking with to clearly understand what you mean and what you're going to do and what your objectives are is very, very important. Your book knowledge, your experience, your skill sets, everything that you bring, but you cannot communicate is in some ways risky. So I always tell my kids, your most effective skill that you're going to build along the way is communication. Learn how to express yourself, learn how to be clear, learn how to listen, and then talk. So I think that's the greatest skill I've received.
Excellent. I love that. Coming back to the engineering background, I have two students who are electrical engineers from international students. So from your standpoint, if they want to get into high tech sales or into that industry, they have an advantage, I think. But which angle should they take?
So from going back to what I did from my engineering background, is always leverage the fact that you have a high valued and well respected background. And necessarily doesn't have to be mechanical engineer, it can be many other things. But the value that you completed something and you were able to successfully use it in a discussing with, let's say, with a client, how you were able to learn and adapt is critical. And what I mean by adapt is that anything that you learn, you have to make it relevant to the people that you're speaking with. So electrical engineering, when you go talk to someone in, let's say in the technology, let's say a company like IBM and you're interviewing for it, the fact that in electrical engineering, a lot of the hardware that is being used, the servers, the hubs, the routers, everything that has electrical technology behind it is important because you got to understand the process, everything that goes into building the hardware. So if you're going as an entry point into getting into a company like IBM, which sells servers, the first step is to go into the hardware side rather than the software side, right? Because there's more of a connection there. So from the electrical engineering perspective, look for jobs that are more aligned to supporting tangible products such as hardware. So that's my perspective.
Excellent. Can you talk about your first big break in sales?
Once again, if you look at my hair, you'll see that I've been in technology sales for over 30 years. So I've been fortunate or unfortunate to go through the challenges of the industry, right? In the 1990s, the dot-com boom was amazing. right? Everybody was starting up web companies, the need to grow existing organizations, leveraging the web was amazing. So being at the right time was very, very important. Let's go Y2K. Maybe your students are young, they might not remember the dot-com boom or Y2K, where companies were just buying hardware, buying software in order to meet the demands of the business. So I think my greatest success was based on the fact that I was at the right time with the right organization who had the right product, and we were able to quickly fill the needs of the client. So with that said, for your students, when you're deciding if you're going to make a sales career, do your homework. Make sure you're in the right industry, you're working with the right company, that you see a company that is visionary, that is transformational, that provides business value to an organization. Because if you align yourself with the right company, you will be successful. But that is a combination of your skill sets and the product or service that is being offered.
Great. When you first joined IBM, was it hardware or software?
Hardware. Yeah.
And then when did you start with software or move into software?
Yeah, once I went into sales for hardware, then along the way, it was always learn. I saw that more margins were being made on software rather than hardware. Software, once you develop it, there's greater margins and greater rewards to a sales rep. So that's when I started transitioning to software, right? And I found it, maybe I'm using the wrong term, but I found it more sexy. Because if you speak to a client and they're talking about business value, they never talk about the back end. They always talk about the front end, right? The GUI interface, what the application does and everything. They don't realize what's behind it all, right? So you have a better, I guess, communication with the client in regards to what is the end result of the software, right? What are you going to get out of that? So that's why I moved from hardware to software.
Great story. And I'm 100% with you. From a margin standpoint, there's more margin in software, number one. I talk to my students a lot about margins because the higher the margin, the higher or the better you get paid. So
Exactly.
if an opportunity, go for the higher margin companies and the products or the services.
Yes.
The next questions are on networking and strategies. What do you do for networking?
So networking has evolved. When I started within the tech industry, networking was done by going out and meeting clients, going out to events, a lot of events back then, calling up and people answering, sending emails and people responding. Many things have changed since then, right? I think we're going back to how it was before. Right now, unfortunately, due to the overwhelming amount of emails and phone calls and everything else, there's a personal touch that I think is coming back. Calling and not reaching anyone is becoming the norm now, because most people are being very selective on who they answer, which emails they respond to. And now technology has come into play where they filter out all the noise, right? Because in sales, sometimes we're considered the noise, right? We're promoting products, and we have 100 other colleagues doing the same thing. So how do you become successful with that? Networking. So now we're going back to events, attend events, go to industry specific sessions, go to, let's say, technology events where you'll meet people and you'll talk to them one-on-one. So it's also about, you leveraging the tools that are out there. LinkedIn is critical, right? LinkedIn gives you a lot of insight to a person so that you could connect, and then you could have follow-up discussions because you both know each other. References, customers, if you have existing clients, if you have existing connections, use them, reach out to them, ask them to refer you to someone else, because that connection is critical. So networking is important in order to expand now more today than yesterday. Because before you could get contacts easier, reach out, communicate, and everything else. Today, people need to gain your trust and confidence in order to have a valuable conversation, right? You know, everybody talks about what would you do on the elevator pitch. Unfortunately, no one's meeting in elevators anymore. You know, offices are not as full as they used to be, and people are in such rush that they don't have time to talk to you. So you got to be very, very selective on your approach, use references, go to events so that you have that communication.
I agree 100%, but I think you can create that elevators meeting, because if you go to conferences, you can create that opportunity virtually.
Yes, no. What I mean, when I say the elevator, is that before we used to go up and down elevators, right? Now, offices, because of the pandemic, are primarily closed. You're not going up and down elevators, but that's why in events, you're absolutely right when you say we still need to have an elevator pitch.
Agree.
Yeah. So you need to have your speech, your product, and everything down pat. So when you have that opportunity at an event to meet someone, it flows out of you. It makes it sound natural. So completely, I agree. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Do you have mentors, and how do you find them?
I'm looking at one right now. I'm speaking to you. You're one of my mentors. So your mentors are everyone. Your colleagues, your managers, your schoolmates. Everybody's there to give you advice. Everybody has an experience. Everyone is there to share and willing to help, right? So I consider everyone a mentor. And anytime I deal with an opportunity, I reach out to my mentors to see if they have experience. And I go, okay, Edmund has worked in the software industry, has worked maybe in the public sector. Let me see what he thinks about this opportunity, right? Former managers for me have been instrumental. Still having that relationship and reaching out to them and asking them for help. And sometimes to gain competitive insight, right? Without in any way disturbing the relationship. So along the way, you're going to meet a lot of people. And everyone that you meet, consider them your mentor. Remember who they are, what they do, and how they could help you and how you could help them. So mentors have been tremendous. And in regards to maybe your question, has there been a structured mentor? I remember when I joined IBM, there was a program called Sales Finishing School. And when you went through this program, you were assigned 3 mentors, right? And these people were instrumental in helping you get to know the sales process, the helping you understand how you should communicate with clients and so forth. And 2 of those people still remain as mentors. That's going back 30 years. Unfortunately, one has passed away. So, but throughout the whole thing, I consider everyone a mentor.
Sorry about that, and that was a great story. How do you maintain and nurture relationships with your clients and prospects?
Regular cadence. So once you've done your initial introduction, once you've gained your trust and confidence that you're a person that could share insight, it's always important to continually communicate with them. Regular cadence, either monthly, weekly, depending on the sales opportunity that you have, or the probability that there may be an opportunity down the road, right? You want to be careful that you don't want to inundate them with emails or calls. Make it that anytime you communicate with them, you're giving them valuable information rather than selling something. So if you hear that a specific industry has had improvements with, let's say, AI, then you you take that report or document and you send it to him or her, and stating that, look what the industry is doing now. So you're on top of mind, right? And you sound like you're knowledgeable in regards to the industry and where we can help and grow, right? Though you may not consider it sales, it is sales, but you're sharing information that along the way is building that relationship and trust and confidence in you. So
That's
regular cadence.
Thank you. That was wise. I have a follow-up questions on the time you spend on networking. What percentage of the time would you say that you spend on LinkedIn versus going to conferences and other activities?
So LinkedIn, I'm in it every day. I'm always searching, always looking for opportunities, finding new contacts, right? So I'm always in there and also seeing, because great information, what my contacts are posting, what information they're sharing, who are they hiring, right? Look at people, who are they hiring? Because based on that, they may be new projects, new initiatives, new acquisitions. There may be opportunity for you to become successful in penetrating the account. So leverage LinkedIn, leverage business weeklies, leverage industry information so that you continually communicate with them. So to answer your question, what percentage do I spend on LinkedIn versus maybe attending events? LinkedIn is in front of you. Events come maybe every quarter, maybe every half year that are critical, right? So leverage the events to make connections and follow up on LinkedIn so you could track their activities so that you could identify future opportunities.
Right. If you could start your career over, is there anything that you would do differently?
I think there's a lot of things I would have done differently. So, like anything else in every career, all your mistakes are critical. You need to make mistakes to truly learn how to improve upon yourself. When I joined IBM, though I worked for many companies, I continually mention IBM, but I worked for IBM, Oracle, where I met you, Salesforce, and many other organizations. I've made many mistakes throughout the way. That's where mentors have come and helped me understand where my mistakes are and where I could do better. I think the greatest mistake that I've made at the very beginning, not being self-aware in regards of your quota, in regards of the compensation, in regards to where you maximize your earnings, right? It's important to always be going out and finding opportunities, but always sell to where you can make the most money, right? Don't waste your time going out of potential opportunities that will not have a good return. Align yourself with opportunities that you truly feel that have a better probability of closing and have the biggest probability of making you more money. When I was starting out in the organization, my thought was hit as many as possible and let's see how many I close, right? Without understanding where the structure of compensation and everything else was, where I could maximize my earnings.
That was tremendous. I want to share that with you too. In my classes, the professional selling classes, this rubric, obviously associated with the course, and I teach my student one little concept, and I think it's not little concept, it's a big concept. I said life is a series of Rubiks. Life is a series of Rubiks. And the Rubik in class, especially the professional selling class, is their compensation plan. Mm-hmm. So exactly this along the same line that you talk about the importance of understanding your compensation plan.
Yes.
That's how it's scored. And life is a series of Rubiks. Yeah. Know it or not, right? When I pass, The last thing that whoever is going to do is the last tax bill,
Yes,
tax filing. So what are those? A series of rubrics.
yes, exactly. Yes, absolutely.
On artificial intelligence and being an engineer, I think you probably have a different perspective on this. How do you see AI changing the sales and the IT industry in the future?
I was fortunate enough to go to Cloud World last year, and I'm actually attending Oracle. And there I saw people like Larry Ellison and many more speak about AI, right? AI is next generation technology that's going to completely shift the market, right? So in regards to the resources that we have to support technology, right? An example, I'll give you an example. Now databases are self-healing, self-generating, self-supporting, and everything else, which before you needed a data engineer, a DBA, you needed an administrator, and so forth. You needed a whole bunch of resources in order to support the database. Based on the vision of Larry Ellison and many more, is that will be done by AI, right? It's a vision that I think it will take time, and as everything moves to the cloud, and it's changing. But my attitude is not only on the technology side, on the economic side, where there's so much uncertainty in the world in regards to where the economy is. I think AI brings a new approach to how business will need to perform. So I mentioned at the very beginning that I was fortunate enough to be through the dot-com stage, the Y2K. To me, I see AI as the next stage, right? So uncertainty breeds opportunity. Wherever there is a change happening, there's opportunity for you to take advantage of that, right? How will it impact sales? Relationship is the key. You still have to be personable. You still have to be able to communicate the benefits of AI, but you still have to have that networking, right? So AI, I think, will change how technology will work and the resources required, but sales is sales. It is someone that needs to develop that vision for clients, right? So going back, network is critical.
Thank you. What steps can young people take today to pursue a career in high tech and or high tech sales?
I think taking the fact that they're going to your classes is a key step. I think that's very, very important. Learning from a mentor such as you is important because it gives you insight into how to pursue a career in sales and technology and how to maximize my potential earning, learn about the trends that are happening. I think the first step they've already done, right? How do you pursue it? It goes back to what I said at the very beginning. If you're truly passionate about building a career in sales and you want to be successful in it, be it technology sales, be it real estate sales, be it anything else, it's important communication. Learn to communicate, learn to express yourself, learn to develop a vision for your clients. That is, I think, is the critical part. And because truly, if you're going to go into sales, the first thing you got to do is sell yourself. You got to sell to the interviewer that you're the right candidate, right? So leverage your history, what you've done in the past, align it to what the job requirements are, and then communicate it to promote it effectively so that you are better than the other ones that have gone for that role. So that is good. I think the whole structure that you laid out, the questions, align very well to how a new sales rep should approach it.
Great. You talk about differentiators. Is there anything else that you want to give in terms of advice?
I think, well, first of all, let me just state that sales is not always easy. It's challenging. Sales, you may approach it that it's an easy job. Maybe you do events and opportunities come your way. Let's be truthful. It is challenging, and that's why salespeople within organizations are well respected and well compensated. It is challenging, and you are the owner of your own business. When you work for an organization such as IBM, Oracle, Salesforce, the company provides you with the tools, the product, or the services, but you are responsible for making that work. So don't expect an organization to make you successful. Choose the organization that has the right products, the tools, and everything else that you could leverage to become successful. So everything that we've talked about today in regards to leveraging a mentor, taking classes, learning, reading, going to industry events, connecting on LinkedIn, that all ties up to you doing it. So always be the person that is, going forward and addressing the need rather than hoping that someone else comes in and does it for you, right? So that goes across the board, sales and everything else.
Thank you so much,
My
Hugo,
pleasure.
for giving back.
Thank you, Edmund. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. I'm Professor Edmund, and these are your career secrets.